Alrighty, I am back, and today I'm going to be doing Zhin. So, this is part of a little series I'm doing just for funsies, and because I want to do it just like as a archive, a library, whatever you want to call it. And this is just the characters that I play, the characters that I like to play, things that I like about them, and what I think about them. And today is going to be Zhin. I did one on Tiberius, I did one on Junkrat, I did one on Loki as well. And this is going to be Zhin. So, I gotta do some disclaimers real quick, and I'm gonna speed run them. First of all, I'm not a pro player. Second of all, this is not a guide. Take everything I say with a grain of salt. I'm just a dumb asshole on the internet. As well as, I do not play ranked for paladins. I don't touch ranked in this game at all. I'm more of a casual player. I just play this game for funsies. However, I do want to have a little bit of credibility, and that credibility is I used to play Overwatch, a lot of Overwatch. I was Diamond back in the first year of Overwatch, and I played when Roll Q was out, and I was Diamond in all roles in that game. Don't ask me for the account, it's gone to the fucking ether. Long story. I got to Diamond in Marvel Rivals as well, within about the first week of the game. But my main games that I've been playing in the last couple years, the main things I've been playing is Tekken, and I'm Tekken King in that, as well as I was Diamond in Street Fighter V, with which both of those are about top 2 to 1% respectively, right? Which, for contrast, Diamond in Overwatch is about top 13%. But this game, I do not play ranked in. I just play casually. I'm just a guy who likes paladins, and I want to talk about paladins, right? So, yeah. So, at the end of the day, take what I say with a grain of salt. I don't know shit about this game. I don't know the meta. I've never looked up a tier list or anything, even in the slightest, right? But because of my experience in other games, because of what I know with other games, I like to think that I know what I'm talking about. Anyway, today we're going to be doing Zhin, and how do I, not you got to figure that shit out for yourself, right? How do I do Zhin? So, Zhin. This motherfucker is the most dirty, degenerate, depraved motherfucker on this entire roster. Look, man. I may not be part of this community. I may not know shit about paladins at the end of the day or anything about this community, but I can tell you this. People do not like this motherfucker. This motherfucker is slippery, greasy, and while I may not know exactly the extent of this paladins community and all of that, I know a fucked up, dirty, degenerate character when I see it. And Zhin is certainly one of those characters. Every time I play this character, it's always something, right? Somebody's always giving me dirty looks. People clearly do not fucking like this character, right? This character is the fucking Diddy of this game. You give him a chance, you give him a second to think or do anything, he's gonna lube himself up, slip right outside the back, right? Lube himself up in baby oil, right out the back. Don't give this motherfucker a chance to even think. Chance to even breathe. So, let's go over first. He's one of these, what I like to call pseudo-melee characters, right? Where, essentially, he's a close-range melee type character because of his slow-range projectiles, making him more effective and a better character at close range, but he can still kind of operate at a longer range. However, he's going to have to anticipate your movements, and it's going to be a hell of a lot harder the farther you go from him, to the point where he can't hit you at all at a certain range. Right, at about roughly, I'd say, what's that, 70 meters, he can't hit you with his 2 first shots. So he basically has this 3-hit string, right? 2 swings, and then a third one that's a lot stronger. So the first 2 are 400 damage, a very, very small amount of damage. That's like, what, a 5-6 hit? Not great. Small amount of damage, they're very slow moving, and they don't have the greatest range in the world. About 70 meters, I'd say, just roughly off just looking at this, right? And then his second hit is the big one, right? Does 700 damage. I think it used to do 750. I think they might have just changed that recently or something along those lines. Maybe this is just mad Mandela effect. But it's a lot faster. You can already see it goes a lot farther, as well as it goes through multiple enemies, which is also great. So that last hit is your main, is going to be your saving grace. You need to hit this shit. This shit is the best part about Zhin. right? This shit is really where he's going to get his real damage, because against other pseudo melee characters, his rivals, characters that do similar things that he does, he's not going to win this interaction if he doesn't hit that shit. And in fact, even if he does hit all of his shit, he still might not win that interaction. So you got to use a little bit more than just holding down left click to get results with him. On top of that, this is a little other thing, is these things have a lot broader of a hurt box because they go vertically instead of, or they go horizontally instead of vertically, unlike the heavy swing, right? Unlike his heavy swing, these things are a lot bigger of a hurt box, so it's a lot easier to hit, or a hit box. That guy's a hurt box, right? So it's a lot easier to hit. As well as, of course, this heavy swing has a lot more startup and all of that. So there's pros and cons to both of the swings, and this is usually more just to butter them up. And then this is great for capitalizing and confirming a kill, is this final swing. But of course, you kind of got to cycle through these first two in order to get that. But you can still hold on to it. Even if you reload, you can still hold on to that swing for quite a while. It's not forever. It's, you know, a couple seconds. But like I said, you can hold on to it for about 2-3 seconds, I'd say. Something along those lines, right? I don't know the exact specifics, but it's enough that you can choose your targets wisely. And it's great, like I said, like in a lot of circumstances, I'll be buttering up one person at full health and then go in, and there'll be another person who's low, and I'll go in and like throw the last swing at them to just confirm that kill. I don't have to use all of it like that. That's basically it for his primary fire. It's really cool. I like shit like that. I like the pseudo melee characters and the way that they do them in this game. But then we have his special abilities. And his special abilities make him the slimiest, greasiest, degenerate motherfucker ever, right? He has this, Billow, which is essentially Reaper's Shadow Fade. I am completely invulnerable. It's just a big middle finger. I just lube myself up and I slip away, right? Just like Diddy. It makes him the biggest, slimiest piece of shit, and if you give him even a second to run away, he will. On top of that, I have this, Whirl, which does a decent amount of damage. It's great for confirming kills, because remember, all of these, even the heavy projectile has quite a bit of travel time. It's not the greatest thing, so if you get them low on health, what I like to use this is I love using this to confirm a kill, right? On top of that, as well, it's a great mobility tool, kind of like something like Genji's Swift Strike. It's basically Genji's Swift Strike, except for I can't move vertically with it. I can only move horizontally with it. But it can be used for a level of mobility. And then the Deflect. You'd think it's something like Genji Deflect if you come here from Overwatch and be like, oh, that's a Genji Deflect. Not a fucking Genji Deflect at all. Nothing like Genji's Deflect, right? So this thing... This Deflect, I can't cancel it. I can't do anything. All of my abilities are locked the moment I press this shit. That's a commitment I have just made the moment I go and press this Deflect. Second thing is, this is not a Genji Deflect. I do not deflect your projectiles back at you with this thing, but instead deflect my own projectile at you, and the moment you hit that thing, I'm out of the Deflect now. It doesn't stay. It's not a real block, but it deflects almost damn near anything. Right? It can deflect a fucking lot and save you from a lot of things that you can't, that you really shouldn't, right? There's some things that do basically an infinite amount of damage, so pretty much almost instantly kill you, that he can deflect that you probably shouldn't be able to, making this thing super useful. On top of that, the thing with this Deflect is this is really this is essential for a lot of fights with Zhins, a lot of 1v1s with Zhin, in order to actually win that thing. Like I said, your DPS isn't the greatest here. Not bad, but like I said, you got to get to cycle through these first two shots. That final shot is really where most of your damage is going to come in, and a lot of start off, a lot of recovery in between all of these things. And this Deflect basically gets rid of all of that and has both the pros and cons of both versions of this, right? Not only does this Deflect swipe horizontally instead of vertically, like his first two hits, like his light hits of his strike, but on top of that, it has the pros of pretty much the heavy strike as well, because it does 600 damage, which is just 100 damage off, as well as it's a lot faster than the normal strike. So it basically has the pros of both the heavy and the light version, with pretty much none of the cons, right? But the difficulty is, of course, you got to hit this thing, right? You got to have them hit you, which people aren't always going to do. People aren't always just going to sink their ammunition right into your deflect if they're aware of what's going on. And if they see you and you do this shit, then you're just going to have to be sitting here in the recovery of this deflect forever, and you're just a sitting duck, and they'll just wait for you to get out of it, and you've just wasted one of your tools that give you the survivability. That makes Zhin so strong. That makes Zhin better than a lot of other characters. That makes him a very good character, right? You're removing that shit. So you need to hit this deflect, and it's almost essential in pretty much any 1v1 against any character like a Maeve or a Tiberius or a Koga or anything along those lines. Any of these 1v1s, you need to hit this deflect or you fucking lose. So that's almost my win con. It's almost what I'm looking for inside a fight when I'm 1v1ing someone with Zhin, right? I'm looking for that deflect, and I'm looking how can I get that deflect and trying to time this deflect perfectly, because I don't even want to give them a chance. I've said this a million times, and I say this whenever I'm telling anybody anything about a game or how to improve at a game. Never, ever, ever expect human error. Don't just throw out this deflect willy-nilly and expect somebody to hit it. That's not going to happen. That's not going to be the case, especially in a 1v1. Not like a big clusterfuck. Somebody's going to hit it in a big clusterfuck, right? If I'm sitting up here with the team and everybody's shooting shit around, there's a Fernando, he's just holding down left click, I'm going to hit that shit inevitably, right? But in a big clusterfuck where I'm fighting, you know, but in a 1v1 scenario, I'm fighting a Latu, I'm fighting Vora, I'm fighting Maeve, or anything like that, as I've already discussed, or in a mirror, I can't expect that shit. So I have to actually be looking. I actually have to watch my enemy, and I have to expect them exactly when to do it. And this thing's frame 1. This thing is active frame 1 instantaneously. There is no startup on this thing whatsoever. So you don't need to you don't need to do it. If it looks like you never even put up this sword in the first place, you're doing it right, right? If they can see you put up that sword, that's a no-no. You want to reduce that as much as possible. So you got to read the enemy. You got to watch the enemy. That's very important with this deflect, because like I said, a lot of these interactions, you're going to lose if you can't get this shit off. You're going to lose, right? That's pretty much it for his abilities in a nutshell. And here's when I'm going to get to the more specific things. What do I go here? So, Yomi, they changed Yomi recently. Before, it just added 150 damage onto the heavy swing. They changed it to this. This is a lot cooler. I haven't really played around with it recently because Marvel Rivals just came out. I was playing Marvel Rivals, and then I was playing Street Fighter V again, and then I was playing Vermintide and all of this other bullshit. I've been distracted, right? It really depends on my mood on which one of these talents I run. I honestly couldn't give a shit. It doesn't change the character too much, but it does change certain things, right? A lot of times I'll run Smolder. Sometimes I feel like Yomi, but the main one I usually run is Guillotine. Wanna know why? Because I'm a massive fucking piece of shit. And then I run Yomi. Or not Yomi. This is my own card build. I did modify it over the first slot. And basically, all of this shit's irrelevant. The main things I have on this thing is generate ammo, right? That's what's important. You can, there's a card that makes it where you generate ammo off Whirl, and you generate ammo passively when you use Billow. And that's what's important for me. So like Billow, it doesn't last very long compared to something like Reaper's Shadow Fade. However, the thing is you can, of course, make it last longer if you choose your cards. I don't care about that shit, because I ain't no pussy. Mama didn't raise no pussy. I don't need to use this fucking Billow like that, right? The Billow, as well as the Whirl, the biggest thing for me is generating that ammo. And usually somebody might buy something like Deft Hands or something with someone like Zhin. But I say, if you don't have to buy Deft Hands, why buy it, right? Zhin's reload is quite long, but I don't even bother fucking buying Deft Hands because I have that shit. In a perfect world, if I use my abilities properly, I never have to reload until I'm ready to disengage. Usually I'll buy something like, if I'm not running Guillotine, I won't buy Morale Boost. If I'm running Guillotine, I'm going to buy Morale Boost, right? Because I'm an asshole. As well as I'll usually buy something like Lethality, Trigger Scent, Bloodbath, Life Rip. I mean, the world's your oyster with someone like Zhin, and Zhin gives you a lot of freedom to buy items and whatnot, depending on whatever the situation calls for, as well as whatever you feel like. And I really couldn't give a shit less on which items I have half the time. Right, but usually I'll get Guillotine. That's the one I run the most, and I'll get Morale Boost with it, right? And this move offers a lot of options because you can use it to basically escape. It's a fucking amazing mobility tool. Surprisingly, it's stupid to use it like this, but once again, if you're running morale boost and you're doing good damage, this shit's going to come back every 5 seconds. So it's kind of a similar thing with something like Tiberius, right? With Tiberius, I was saying you basically have 5 abilities, or you're essentially like a tempo character or something like that, a stance character with someone like Tiberius if you're running morale boost. So I always get morale boost on Tiberius, and it's a similar kind of thing here. If I get max morale boost, I essentially just have 4 mobilities. And one of these abilities instantly fucking kills a guy, right? This is just a big fuck you all. You're instantly dead. I pick one person, I say, I really don't like you, tank, anything, doesn't matter, right? And I just say, I pick you, Fernando, I don't like you, you're dead. It just does 100% of your health. As long as they get no healing whatsoever, it will do 100% of their health if it lets you do the whole thing and they're instantly dead. It's fucked up. It really is fucked up. And it comes back so fast. I only have 1 stack of morale boost. As long as I'm constantly doing damage, it comes back so fast. I mean, you get full morale boost, and it's just every 5 seconds. Like I said, every 5 seconds, you got another one, right? Boom, boom, boom. Look at that. Basically 6% each swing. Each swing, I get about 6%. So I don't need to be too picky about this move. You're not going to get big ults with something like this. It's just one guy, and I don't have to be too iffy about this. And I can overcommit and use it to jump over roofs, get to higher ground, use it to run away. I wouldn't just use it as my mobility every time I feel like it, but I mean, at the end of the day, you can use it just to get out of a tough situation if you really need to. Now, of course, it does have that startup. You still got to be careful of a lot of that. But I mean, like I said, comes back so fast, and it's great to use against something like tanks if you're running guillotine. It's great to use to keep you alive. You pretty much just win any fight as long as you have, you know, working hands, because this thing's so fast. It's really hard to miss this thing. I mean, and it's got a massive hitbox. So generally my game plan with someone like Zhin is I'm always hugging walls. I'm always hugging walls with Zhin. Right? That's always what I do. Remember, at the end of the day, he's the leader of the Assassin's Guild, right? He is an assassin. So don't just stand there in fucking the middle of the point. Don't just stand there in broad daylight. That's not what you're here to do. That's not what you do, is it? Hug walls. Walls are your friends. And I'm always, anytime I have my gameplay up, I'm always next to a wall at any points and just slipping between these walls like the slippery motherfucker I am. And it's very easy if I'm fighting someone over here, I get low, I can just get the fuck out, right? And then I hide around corners, and you don't know if I've just ran away or I'm just waiting. And if I get the drop on you, you're dead. And I love to use this shit around corners like a piece of shit, right? You turn that corner, I have that ultimate, you're dead. And I can just do that at any fucking point. And the great thing is, especially with something like doorways, right? If a whole team is coming through here, like there's a whole team, like 5 guys just coming through here, right? And one of them takes the lead, I can grab that motherfucker. And if they're too scared to walk through that door because my team's there or something, it's going to lift me up because he rises up when he does this ult too. So it's going to lift me up when they cross that door, and I'll be sitting right here, right above them, or at least my feet dangling, and all they'll see is basically a motherfucker just getting choked out right above the door frame, and he's just going to die. And that's it. And then I can just slip away, use whirl, and then if I'm still in their line of sight, use billow, and I'm gone. I'm gone. And the moment I leave your line of sight, you'll never see me again. That's the beauty of Zhin. You'll never see me again. It's not going to happen. Right? And until it's too late. And the moment you see me, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to be hiding around corners. I'm going to be hiding next to walls, hugging shit like the asshole that I am. And I'm going to snatch you up, take you to the Diddy party. And then the moment the cops come for me, lubed up, out the door. Right? Jump down my slip and slide, and I'm all the way halfway across the world. Right? And that's how it works. And you can't stop me. I beg you to try. I fucking beg you to try. I have so many tools at my disposal to keep my survivability. I have so many tools to keep me from dying. You know, I have this whirl, I have this billow, and I have this deflect. All of these things, mobility, vulnerability, all these things keep me alive and keep me impossible to kill. And then I just jump on top of you with this thing, and it's over. That's it. That's the short and sweet of it. That's how you play Zhin. You're welcome. You know, but yeah, I mean, there's not much else to say about this character. Whatever the dirtiest, most degenerate motherfucking thing you can think of, do that, and that's usually the right answer with Zhin, right? Just be the most dirty, perverted degenerate you can. then it'll usually work out, right? And you can get away with a lot more that most characters can't. But one weakness that Zhin has that a lot of these other characters that, like I said, like I call those rivals and whatnot, right? Other pseudo melee characters don't have is not great mobility. Zhin doesn't have great mobility because he really just has this whirl, and it gives me no vertical mobility whatsoever, right? Someone like Koga, I can climb up walls. I can do all kinds of things like that, right? Koga can climb up walls, giving him good mobility. And then he has his shadows slip thing, so I can climb up the wall here. And then if I need to get to another point, I can just kind of like fade along to like a bridge or something like that, right? Tiberius has a super jump. Maeve can jump really high and has her swift strike, as well as something like... Vora has tendrils and is basically just Spider-Man, right? I don't have any of those luxuries. I do have this. This can work, but is it really worth it to do it every single fucking time? You need a tiny bit of mobility. Not usually. Sometimes there's cases if you need to chase someone like a Genos or something, someone important you need to kill, then sometimes it's useful. But for the most part, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that all day. That's not worth it. But like I said, it's more useful to just to hide around corners, have your all the time, because you're going to have your all the time if you have morale boost, and then just do that shit. And then run away, just crack their helmet, run away real slow. And that's it. That's really all you got to do. So yeah, that's about it. Peace.